Here's number 14 from page 220 from the Get Ready Guide for the Bergen Academies admission test. Now, we have a question that says -3 2/5 times 4 1/3. When we multiply mixed numbers like these two, we first need to change them into improper fractions. Now, just to remind you, something like -3 2/5, how do we change that into an improper fraction? We multiply the 3 times 5, that's 15, then we add it to the 2, 15 plus 2 is 17, and the denominator remains the same, 5. The negative sign will also stay as it is, so it becomes -17 over 5. So -3 2/5 becomes -17 over 5 times 4 1/3, 4 times 3, 12, 12 plus 1, 13. So numerator becomes 13, denominator remains as it is, 3. Okay? Now what do we do? Now we need to multiply these two. We multiply the numerators by each other, and we multiply the denominators by each other. So denominators are easy. Leave the negative as it is. 5 times 3 is 15. How about 17 times 13? Let me remind you how we multiply. Again, remember, you cannot use a calculator on the test. So 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 1 is 3, and 2, 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 1 is 1. So 1. 5 plus 7 is 12, so that's 2. So 221. So it's -221 over 15. Now, we just had a similar question to this a little while ago. What do we need to do next? What we need to do next is we need to change the 221 into two numbers. So something plus something over 15. Okay, so for example, we want to change it to 200 plus 21 over 15. But the point is that we can't just choose any two numbers. We need to choose numbers that are divisible by 15, or one of these two numbers. In fact, the big number needs to be divisible by 15. So we're looking for the biggest possible number, the largest possible number that is divisible by 15, and then we add to it whatever is left to make 221. So let's try here. Let me change the color. Okay, let's take a look. So I always start with 10 and 20 and then go down to 15 if 20 is too big. So what am I going to do? Let me take this away first. Now, first thing I do is I want something divisible by 15. So I'd ask myself, what is 15 times 10? It's 150. Okay, and 150 is smaller than 221, so that's good. Now, what about 15 times 20? No, that's too big. That's 300. It's bigger than 221, so that doesn't work. So I try the next number would be 15 times 15. What is 15 times 15? Now, even though 15 times 15 is a square, and some of these squares come in handy if you memorize them, let's take a look how to multiply if you don't remember. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1, 5 and 2, 7. Then 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So the answer here would be, just change the color right here, would be 5. 7 plus 5, 2, and 1, so 225. So 15 times 15 is 225. Now, the number we're looking at is 221. Now, if you had memorized the squares, so the square of 15 is 225, you would have just went there right away. You know that 15 times 15 is 225, which is very close to 221. Okay, we need to memorize these squares. Sometimes they come in handy, like 12 squared is 144 and so on. So now I know that 225 is bigger than 221, so that doesn't work. However, I can just choose the one that's just under it. So 15 times 14. Okay, 15 times 14 is 225, and take away 15, minus 15. So the answer would be 210. So this is the number I am going to work with, 210. So we change this question now into -210 plus 11, because we want it to be 221, remember? 210 plus 11 over 15. Now again, why did I do that? Because the 210 over 15 will give me a whole number, 14, which is the whole point of mixed numbers. So let's go to the line underneath it here. So negative 210 plus 11 over 15. Then we can divide this, the number inside the brackets, or inside the parentheses, into two different fractions. So it becomes 210 over 15 plus 11 over 15. Okay, now, so we have negative 210 over 15, we already know is 14. We got it from here. 15 times 14 equals 210. So 210 divided by 15 is 14. Plus 11 over 15. Now remember, when you have a whole number like 14 plus a fraction like 11 over 15, that's the same as writing it in the form of a mixed number. So that's the same thing as 14 and 11 over 15. And don't forget the negative sign. So this is your final answer, 14 and 11 over 15.